welcome to So You Think You're Awake, the show about life transformation through dream interpretation. I'm Michael Sheridan. On this show, through analysing your dreams, I reveal your potential and the obstacles you need to overcome. I'm very specific. I tell you the magic power you have, what makes you magnificent, and the bumps in life that are holding you back. These bumps are not in the way, they are the way. To get in on the action, go to dream-analysis.com, fill in the form and submit your dream to the show. That's all you have to do. Last week, my show was about lifelong illnesses and how the cause of that shows up in dreams. Once you know the cause, you can begin to address it with a solution, rather than addressing the symptoms of a problem. I also brought Jolyon Tremblay on to talk about how to use diet to reverse conditions. Well, Jamie wrote from China. Yes, we're being listened to in China. She said she loved the show and wondered if her dream might explain the cause of psoriasis. Well, Jamie, I've got your dream here, and it doesn't. But it is an interesting dream nonetheless, so let's have a look. She says, I was in the kitchen and my mom picked up some sticky rice from the floor and tried to give it to me. Ew. At the same time, my husband was offering me sticky rice in a blue and white bowl. His was beautifully presented. I asked my mom, why would I take the sticky rice from the floor when John has some perfect rice? Well, Jamie, this dream is about your elimination system. The symbols for that are the floor and the kitchen. And like I said, it doesn't address the psoriasis. But it does allow me make an important point that explains why we can develop food allergies connected to our moms. And it's very simple. When you come here, if your start to life does not give you the bond that you wanted, the bond that you need as an infant, then you want to go home. Because at that point in your life, you're fully aware of where you came from. And you're like, that's it. I'm done with the earth plane. I'm happy to go home. But you can't go home. Why? Because the woman that is not giving you the love that you need, which is what happened in your case, is keeping you alive by feeding you milk. And you resent that. You resent it so much you hate it and hate it and hate it. And then later in life, you have an allergy to milk. It's really very simple. And that's how a lot of the allergies are. Now, as an infant, we know where we came from, so we don't care that we would have to die to get there, to go back. It's not going to be an issue. But this dream says for you that you need to consider the source of the food that you're ingesting. And that's really important. So if the source of the food is not, if you can't trace it all the way back to be a loving source, like your husband is giving you the bowl of rice, and it's beautifully presented and it's in a blue and white bowl. So that's saying have a very positive philosophy of life or philosophy towards the food that you eat, and realize that you're eating this food in a space of love, or it was prepared in a space of love. And that's going to be good food for you. So you can eat the same food in that space and it's fine for you. And then the exact same food in another space, like given to you by your mom from the floor, and that's a horrible space. And that same food then will be no good for you. You will have a reaction to it. So you have this energetic connection with the food and the source of the food. Not everybody has that, but you've got it. And so you could do some kind of, I know you're into ritual and stuff like that. So you could do some sort of ritual that would break that connection, and that would help you enormously. And you say that the bowl of rice that your husband had was blue and white. And blue and white is a really good color combination that says improve your philosophy. So that's what you got to do. And I've often said on the show before that getting, whether you're religious or not, getting to the point of saying grace before a meal is really, really good, because it puts you in a good frame of mind before eating the food. But in your case, yes, do something like that, but also consider where the food is from and don't eat it if you're not going to like where it's from. And in your case, I can share that it's when you say it was your mom in the dream, it's actually your stepmom, because you were adopted. And the dream is actually about your birth mom, though, and your stepmom is just filling in for the role. And so because you were adopted, your mom didn't want you and put you up for adoption, and that's the connection. So that's the connection to why it's a bad thing for you, why dairy and other things are bad for you. And we know you said it's white sticky rice, so that also brings dairy into the picture because of the color. But it all comes from that. And so cutting the ties that bind with your mom, with your birth mom, with this specific goal will really help you. So I hope I've explained that enough. But I liked it because it allowed me to make that point. Of course, that only applies to Jamie's dream. There are many other reasons why you could end up with a milk allergy. For instance, even if you don't want to go back to the spirit world, you just resent the fact that you're being fed and having to take milk from a person who doesn't love you. And it's not that you resent the person, but you end up making the association of the very bad feeling that you're having, the enormous sadness from not getting the love that you need, is associated with drinking milk. And then you end up with a milk allergy. So my 3-week mini course started yesterday. This is my second time to run it. The first time I added 2 weeks to it, but we'll see what happens this time. I also ran a free webinar on Wednesday, and I'm going to make a series of free webinars, all on different aspects of dream interpretation. If you'd like a focused presentation, please do write and let me know what you'd like to see. What do you want to hear about? I'll build a presentation around your responses. I haven't done it yet, so influence me now. Go to dream-analysis.com and type your preference as a question for the show. Or if you're already on my email list, just email me, let me know. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Radio is great, but the interaction with people on the webinar is just different. Plus, I love the rapid fire dreams I get in the Q&As at the end. Now, let's have a look at some more dreams. Here's a dream from Carrie, and she says, I was waiting for my husband and decided to get a pedicure. One of my son's friends, a 14-year-old, approached and I wanted to skip the bloodletting from under the nail, and he asked if I wanted to skip the bloodletting from under the nail, and I said, yes, please, I don't want that. I mean, that's crazy. Then he asked if I wanted anything else on the menu, and I said, a nice tea, please. His comments as he went to get it was something like, well, that isn't very much. He came back with a container of water to soak my feet. On either side of the container was a bee on a little flower that was floating in the water. I asked if the bees usually sting, and he said yes, but that it's great for shedding the skin. At this point, the 2 bees started swimming in the water, and I was getting up my nerve to put my feet in. Okay. Will I say this last little bit? I will, yeah. I was walking, so you say I don't recall a bit here, but fast forward. I was walking with my husband arm in arm near some shops and looked down at my feet. My toenails were painted orange and very poorly painted. I thought, I can fix those later. It was very lighthearted, and I was kind of giggling when I said out loud, worst pedicure ever. And I think of comic book guy from The Simpsons there. So what is this about? The pedicure, nails and teeth. You'll hear me saying teeth all the time, but teeth represent raising your children, and nails are the same thing. So they represent the same thing in dreams. The bees are going to represent career, because we know them as worker bees, so they're about career. And orange is the color for career as well. So this dream is going to be about your kids and also about a career move for you. And if you look at pedicure, there's always a pun in every dream. And if you can get the pun, it can tell you everything about the dream. Sometimes the puns are so lame, I don't say what they are. But here the pun is in pedicure. And if you think of, cure is obvious. We know what a cure is. And pedi, if you think of pediatrician, it's about children. So a pedicure is curing something about your child. And I wrote and I asked you about career and if you were thinking of doing anything spiritual, which is what the bees in the water are about. And you wrote back, and part of what you wrote back, you said, for the past several years, I've helped out at my youngest son's school. I was initially there sporadically as an art docent, but due to his anxiety increasing this year, I ended up going there every day to help him cope and to literally get him through the door. So now we see why you're dreaming of a pedicure, knowing that pedicure is about doing something to cure or help heal your child. So what else have we got? One of my son's friends, 14-year-old, approached and asked if and he asked if you want to skip the bloodletting. Okay, so that you want to skip the pain. Basically, you want to overcome the pain that you're experiencing with regard to raising your child. Very good. The dream just does it in a kind of a graphic way, or brings it up in a graphic way. Kind of like, make sure that you're going to remember this dream. Then he comes back with a container of water to soak your feet, and on either side is a bee on a little flower. So the flowers represent love. And the bees, like I said, represent work. So when we see the flowers in the dream, we know a little bit about your childhood and needing to get more love than what you actually got. But not really the strong focus in the dream. So I asked you about, were you thinking about changing careers and doing anything spiritual? And you said, I've wondered about working in some type of spiritual career. I've been on my spiritual journey since my early 20s. I'm now 46. And I asked about your husband, was he supportive? And you said, while he can be quite open-minded, I know my interests in spiritual pursuits challenge him at times. So that's the opposite of open-minded, by the way. Here's my open-minded husband with a closed mind. So that's kind of funny. You said you received channeling messages from dreams before, but quite frankly don't know how or where to begin. Maybe channeling is going to be one of the focus webinars I do then. So what else have we got in the dream? So we have the bees, the container of water on your feet. Feet are about moving forward. So equipping yourself to move forward to deal with the issue that's raised at the start of the dream. And we have 2 bees in the water. So this says that you're a channel. And I probably asked you that, maybe I hadn't, but you said you received channeling messages in dreams before. So we know you're a channel, and this dream also says you're a channel, and they're swimming in the water. Now, bees don't swim in the water. They die in water. So the unusual fact that they're swimming in the water tells us that you've got this special ability to go into the spirit world and survive. You won't die. I say that kind of jokingly, but the joke really is, we can all go to the spirit world. It's just a few of us can come back after we go there. Anyway, so they're swimming in the water, and you're saying that you're getting ready to get up the nerve to put your feet in the water. So it's like, that's what you need to do. You need to channel, and you're working your way to getting your nerve up to put your feet in. So yeah, absolutely. But don't do it just like I'll put my toe in. You got to commit to this, because this is who you are. Your toenails are painted orange. You're saying later on you're walking near some shops. So shops have to do with need. So this is something you need to do. Your toenails are painted orange, but they're very poorly painted. And that's like saying that the assistance you get now is terrible. What assistance? The assistance with your child. So the assistance you get now is painted like this poorly, or terrible, like this poorly painted toenail. But you say in the stream, I thought, oh, I can fix those later. So you have the ability to fix this yourself. How? Well, through channeling, by getting your feet wet doing channeling, just like the dream asks you to do. And so what you're going to do is you're going to channel the source of children's issues to help their parents. And the driver for this is your own son's anxieties, because you understand the child's pain and the parent's pain. And that gives you a very unique perspective. And you finish with saying, you're very excited that I'm back on air. Well, thank you very much, Carrie. And you might guess from her saying that she sent this stream a short while ago, which she did. And Carrie also sends in another dream in response to my questions. And that's always a good thing to do, because then that gives me more detail. And anyway, in this dream, you have you getting married again, which is another symbol for channeling. And you say, I was standing in the room where the ceremony was to take place, and on my right was a piano. And so again, this is... the piano is another symbol for channeling. So you've got that ability, and you have it in spades. And it's going to happen. A lot of people, I meet people years later, and they always say, hey, I'm doing what you told me I would be doing. So don't be worried about how am I going to channel, how am I going to learn. All you need to do is say, this is what I'm going to do, and it will work out. You'll end up in it in the end. So here's a really short one from Poor. That's the pseudonym she's gone by. And here's how short it is. She says, I dream of two crocodiles. One jumps out of the water and chases me. And so the 2 bees in the last dream told us it was about channeling. Also the fact that I channeled and got that it was about channeling. And then she sent in another dream that was also about channeling. But anyway, this one we don't have a lot. But we still know, because of the number 2, it's about channeling. The dreamer has the ability to channel. And then the crocodiles say that she has a fear of channeling. So she's got to, and a lot of people have this, she's got to do something to overcome that fear. And people, it's understandable. Like, we look at it today and people are say, well, I'm afraid of who I'll connect with. And it's really not that, because if you think about it, if you're sitting in your room and you're afraid that you're going to connect to a being that isn't even in the room, so what? They're not physically there. You can just break the connection. Our fear of channeling really comes from the fact that in any past life, most likely that you would have had, you would have been persecuted for channeling and even killed. And that includes in America and England and all the other places that we think are open to this now. And even if you weren't killed, you would have been ostracized for working with the devil or whatever it happens to be. And I remind people that in the Bible, Jesus tells people that he's not the only one with these abilities, and many people have abilities that are even stronger than his. So it's in there. And even with that, we still get a lot of persecution when somebody says, I've got this skill. So anyway, so you need to overcome the fear of channeling. So why is that? So I gave a talk about this actually on Saturday. We grow ourselves through overcoming our own childhood pain. That's where our growth is. Now, a lot of the time we look and we say, okay, I have a channeling ability. That's how I'm going to help other people. But we need to fix something within ourselves before we can get to use that ability. And that's true for most of us. I mean, there's a few exceptions, but it's true for most of us. And it's that growth, having to deal with whatever it is that was our pain in childhood. That's how we grow spiritually. And then we can help other people after we've grown spiritually. But helping other people is not generally how you grow spiritually. That's how you repay your karmic debts. But the growth in your life is from overcoming the pain that you picked up in childhood. And so it's like nothing is wasted. There's no stones left unturned in your life and in the plan and everything about your life. So everything that's happened to you has happened for a reason. And it's all to help you see an aspect of you that you need to heal. And then hopefully heal from it, because life will put you in touch with many, many people that can help you. And then it's up to you to accept the help or not accept the help. So let's move on to the next one. Well, this is actually a comment from Jennifer. And she sent in a dream a while ago, and it's the one with the Ferris wheel and Seattle, a tidal wave and all sorts of things happening and so on. Anyway, she says, well, Michael, thank you. At a loss for words, really. And that is rare. I think my guides wanted me to really get that last part you added, because I had to listen to it multiple times to catch it all. Oh, yeah. Oh, so, okay. So, yeah, the show goes out live on the radio, but I also turn it into a podcast. And sometimes I'll add pieces into the podcast if there's something I forgot to say on the radio. So now there's a reason to listen to the podcast too. And so what I had added in there was what Jennifer needs to do, her next steps. And the next steps were she doesn't need to do anything. She's already done everything she needed to do. And the dream was old. She had given us an old dream. So she's already worked on all the issues that were in the dream. And that's fantastic news to hear, to say that you're on your last necessary earth life. You don't have to come back, and just keep doing what you're doing, because everything you're doing is perfect. Rarely hear me say that on the show. She says, on one hand, I'm experiencing huge relief. On the other, I'm feeling like I better appreciate every remaining moment on this planet. I'm sure the timing is no accident. I'm finally ready to hear all of this now. Thank you for giving me guidance on what I'm supposed to be doing. And the thumbs up. Heartfelt gratitude for you and your gift. And thank you, Jennifer. But now, I said the last part because we all have gifts. Everybody has a gift. You have a gift. You have at least one, and you probably have several gifts. Are you using them? Because you're meant to use those gifts to help other people. And in helping other people, that's how you repay your karmic debts. So it's not just me with a gift. Everybody has a gift. You've got to work on yourself, figure out what it is, figure it out by sending it into my show, and then work on healing your childhood, get rid of the dysfunctions that would hold you back, and then you're free and in a position to help other people. Some people can help without clearing their own dysfunctions, but it depends on what your skill set is. Let's have a look at another really short one. This is from Elizabeth. She said, I had a dream and I saw someone who is dead smiling after asking me questions. Well, this is a really straightforward one. We have a spirit asking you questions, or somebody in the spirit world asking you questions. So this dream says you are to ask questions about the spirit world or spirituality. That's what you're to do. And you don't say if you know the person or anything like that. So I assume you don't. But anyway, you're to ask the questions, get to the bottom of it, figure it out, enjoy that exploration. So that's pretty good. So let's have another dream. This one's from Kate. She says, hello, Michael. Glad to hear you back on the air again. Always enjoy listening when I can. I also just bought a copy of your dream dictionary. Looking forward to reading through it. Well, here's the thing. You don't need to buy that dream dictionary, because if you go to my website, dream-analysis.com, you can download it for free. But I'm glad you did that. So I imagine you meant you bought my book, which also has the dream dictionary in it. So here's the dream. I was in a jail, although not a typical jail, as it seems I was by some kind of checkout station. 2 other jailmates were plotting an escape and wanted me to join. After considering my options of staying in jail for 3 months or risk getting caught and having to serve 1 year, I declined to join them. That was the end of the dream. Then it rolled into me driving, and suddenly it was pitch black in darkness. Even the headlights couldn't help me. That was the dream. Okay, so this is a really easy one, and you see this from time to time. If you see a woman at a check stand, then it's about mother putting a price on her love. And so you learned in childhood at a very young age, and you tell us the age in your dream. You say, because you say in your dream, after considering my options of staying in jail for 3 months. So that means back in the first 3 months of your life, you formulated this whole idea that you need to suppress your feelings, because if you don't suppress your feelings, you don't please mom. So if I want to please mom, I keep quiet about my feelings, and then the world is much easier to navigate. And that's what we do. We are very, very intelligent as children, and we decide this is what I need to do in order to survive in this hostile environment. And then we get through our childhood because it works. We live, we survive. But we keep that method up, and we no longer need to, because now we are our own boss. We can do whatever we want, but we've been conditioned, and because we've been conditioned, we keep it up and we do it forever. And so this dream is saying, look, it's time for you to let yourself out of jail. Hey, look, you're not even in jail. Stop suppressing yourself. Get out there and express who you are. Now, you've got to figure that out, but you've got to heal your childhood. You have to heal your childhood from this age. And until you do that, you're not even going to know what it feels like to fully feel your feelings. Yeah, of course you're going to have feelings, but this is the work I do all the time. I say I help people develop their gifts, which I do, or discover their gifts, which I definitely do. But the big work I do is helping people heal their childhood pain. And so you need to heal that pain. And when you do, it's going to be a totally different world from you. And it's so different, there is no way I can explain to you how different it's going to be. That's how different it would be for you. And you see, like even in this dream, you're not even in a jail. You're just kind of by a checkout stand. And you decide, my freedom isn't worth it. Because if I step out, I will be penalized. I'll be more penalized. So I'll hold myself back. So that's pity. If I express myself, I get penalized. But again, it all comes from mom put a price on her love. So you had to do what she wanted in order to get the treatment that you really should have had the whole time. I almost forgot. The last part where you're in the car and it's dark and the headlights aren't working. That's about being able to see where you need to go using your intuition, which is what the headlights are about. But it says right now that you're in the dark. You don't know where to go and nothing is giving you any information. And that's because of the issues with your mom. So deal with the issues with your mom. Your intuition will improve and you'll be able to see where you need to go. Always when dreams link the two, seemingly unrelated, it says work on one and the other gets fixed. Okay, so we have 5 minutes to go. Let's squeeze a few more in. This one is from Della. She says, what does it mean when you persistently dream about your father, arguing with him and rejecting his help in the dream? In waking life, I describe my relationship with my dad as so-so. We try to get along whenever I'm home, though we have differences here and there occasionally. And she titles it Arguing with My Father. Well, clearly it's about arguing with your father. And it's about dealing with issues connected to him that hold you back. So it's like, in the dream space is created and you're told, okay, with a blank slate, you can create anything you want. What do you want to create? And you create this conflict with your dad. So it's saying that in spaces, even when your dad isn't there, the conflict with your dad changes and affects what you're doing. So you've got to deal with that. And of course, you say you get on well, so with him now. But this is going to be more about, usually it's about how you got on with him in the past when you were a child and the support he gave you. And you reject his help in the dream. So it means it's very likely because of the support you didn't get from your dad, you have an independent streak and you're like, I'm going to do this on my own. And so even when somebody wants to help you today, you don't accept their help. And that's going to hold you back again, because certain people are sent to you in your life to help you. I mean, I don't know the details because I didn't ask you anything around this, but you sent another one in and you said, my sister and I were taking my white dog for a walk. My dog starts to taunt a cow nearby, just in front of my parents' house. The cow, obviously having enough, starts attacking my dog, while my sister and I try to defend and save our dog and ward off the cow. In the end, the cow says it will send my dog music. Now, you say it's a white dog, so this ties in with the dream near the start, Jamie's dream. You have an allergy to milk. It affects your body, and we have the cow attacking the dog. So it's like dairy attacks your body, because that's what the dog represents, your body. And then, really interestingly, which is why I included this and included your previous dream, is you say the dog speaks and says it will send my dog music. So you're a channel, and music and of course an animal speaking both represent channeling, and you can look that up in my book. It's in black and white. So that's really good. So give up. Why do we see the two together? Give up dairy and possibly even beef, and it will help your channeling. It'll also calm you. So here's a bit of a kind of a nasty one. April says, I was in a bedroom and had tiny white worms climbing out of my body onto my finger. I watched a couple jump off my finger onto the floor like fleas. I was disturbed by this and walked outside to investigate further. Now I had more in my hand, and I watched the tiny worms, not bigger than a grain of rice, be born. They were being born out of tiny plants that were in my hand, like dew falling off a blade of grass. They would crawl to the first tiny flower they could and suck all the nectar off it. All of this was happening on my hand. So not a good dream at all. The symbols are all about cancer. The worms are about cancer, and it's cancer with the reproductive system. And I can talk about this dream because I talked to April offline, and we've done many dreams together over the years, April, that you've sent into the show and so on. And cancer of the reproductive system is a common thing for you. And I included in this show because you can listen to the last show and look at how to use diet to help you stop having these dreams, because we know what they're linked to. And so how do we know it's a reproductive system? We have the bedroom, and then we have the plants, the tiny plants. Both those symbols are about that. And anything else we want to say about that? No, just accept if you have a dream like that again, kill them. Don't let them live. Patty says, my dream is one of my sisters sitting at the kitchen table. My favorite sister, my confidant, was bringing a box in. It was a cobra snake on both ends of the table. So she calls it a two-headed snake. So that tells us it was what that is. So this says you're a channel and you're also a counselor. You have, and the other thing is, like, snakes are used as, it's the caduceus for healing, the healing symbol. So I'm really out of time, but you've possibly got a mix of all of those. And it's quite interesting. So it's not cancer because it's not attacking you. That's it. We're out of time. That's my show for this week. If you want me to analyze your dreams on the show, go to dream-analysis.com and fill in the form. If you want to attempt your own analysis, you can get my free dictionary at the same location, dream-analysis.com. Until next week, I'm Michael Sheridan. Thank you for listening.